Assalamu alaikum, family. You're tuned in to the Sajdah channel, and this is the Sajdah Morning Coffee Talks, and we're going to get started this morning. I'm sorry for being a few minutes late. I had to correct a few things out there on the feed. So we'll give everybody time to join in, and then I'll see you all in a few after a few short commercials. Okay? How about that? Be a friend, tell a friend. We'll see you in a few.
O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom Thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom Thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever Thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what Thou hast judged. Surely Thou judgest, and none can judge against Thee, and he whom Thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art Thou, O Lord, and exalted be Thee above what they set up besides Thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides Thee, and I bear witness that Muhammad is Thy servant and apostle. Amen.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who in my judgment is the master historian, taught us that of all our studies, history is the most attractive, and it is best qualified to reward the researcher. history is most attractive. Why should history be most attractive? Because history is the recorded time of the human family in its struggle to overcome obstacles. There is no life that is without struggle. The Holy Quran teaches us that man, meaning man and woman, is made to face difficulties. And after difficulty comes ease. But it is history that guides us through difficulty. For if you know how people who had difficulty yesterday got through, and if your difficulty is somewhat similar, then today we also can get through if we follow the guidance of history. This is why Carter G. Woodson and many of our black giants fought for black people to know our history. Because in not knowing our history, we don't have a guide. And without a guide, we are lost. No wonder the Bible...
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Happy Friday. I thought yesterday was Friday. The short week got me all thrown off. And then I logged on today. We had technical difficulties. I set up all the shows, for example, on my software ahead of time. And you know what? The devil stayed busy. But some said I was coming on at 6 a.m. There were 3 that said I was coming on at 6 p.m. And it's like, wait a minute. I did a bulk setup. Anyway, so I had to fix all that this morning to come to you all. Just to chat, just to talk. The devil stayed busy because we got such good stuff happening that they can't help themselves, you know. So we don't worry about that over here. We just keep correcting and keep moving and keep getting it right. So thank you all for joining. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I am so excited. I am getting a first sample copy of my book today, the new book today. And I have literally I've been doing some heavy lifting over here. Okay, heavy lifting in terms of, and let me just say this, because when you're an entrepreneur, you go through these phases where you're building pipelines, and it may be that you got to spend a lot more time working on and building the pipeline. And if you're not in business or you don't know anybody in business, you may not understand that, but it's that building and development stage. And I have a few projects that have been in the building and development stage that are now all coming to completion at one time, right? So, woo. But needless to say, I'm so blessed. I'm so grateful. I'm grateful for each and every one of you who support. You all know for me, it's all about consistency. I'm not signed to some big agency that's out here promoting for me. I'm just telling my truths as I see it, as I get it. And in many cases, the truth that Allah allows me to tell is helpful to you. It's solving a problem for you. It's creating a value for you, creating a need to you. And I'm focused on making it accessible to you. Y'all know me. I love hooking people up, helping people out, seeing what I can do to support somebody. I love supporting somebody in a way, especially when they had like maybe a limited belief system. And so sometimes we have to ask ourselves, who told you that your belief system should be limited in that area? Who told you that you can't do this? Or who told you that this should be difficult? I love being there to escort people through difficult and challenging times. That's just something I love. And so doing business is oftentimes a difficult and challenging time for people. And so people, sometimes people need help. Sometimes people need support. And that's what we're doing with the new book. This new book is designed to liberate us. And I don't say that lightly, because there's a lot of us out here now that are talking about business and entrepreneurship. And my thought is the more, the merrier. Y'all know I'm not a binary thinker. I'm not like, it's this or that. You go out there on YouTube and all these people out here who are pushing business, who are teaching us how to do business, teaching us different aspects of business. You go and study. YouTube should be your university. So when you go out there and you study, pay attention. It might be something from that person's personality that resonates with you, right? And when that person's personality resonates with you, it may make it go down a lot easier. This book is designed to supplement all of that. I want to supplement everything that's already out there. And my focus is Black entrepreneurs. There's no shame in my game. I'm not hiding away from that. I'm not saying, well, this is for all entrepreneurs and this is for minority entrepreneurs. Even in my first book, I said, this is for marginalized people. This is focused on Black entrepreneurs, Black economic development, Black generational wealth. It is specific language and it is focused on us. And it is designed, excuse me, to supplement every other movement that's out there, every other person that's out there doing videos on YouTube or on their platform who are speaking about doing business. It's designed to supplement every class you've ever taken, any workshop, any webinar. It is designed to supplement that. This is not binary thinking. This is not, it's my way or the highway. This is not, it's this or that. This is not, it's my way in lieu of this or that. This is a true supplement and support to any and everything that you are out here doing. Okay. And so I'm excited about it. It's called The Art and Science of Business. It's almost 400 pages. When I wrote my first book, I came up with that and everybody told me like, you know what, it's way too much. It's blah, blah, blah. But this time I was like, you know what, I'm going to put out what I'm feeling, what's coming to me, what Allah is telling me in my spirit needs to be said, what we need to do. I've got some blueprints on there for a separation think tank. I've got audits in there for crisis management and risk assessments. I've got a political platform in there for supporting and helping Black people in the space of entrepreneurship. But I am unapologetically going after us so that we can begin to create economic wealth and economic sovereignty for ourselves and fixing our mindset. Sometimes we have this natural stank on us, and we put the natural stank on us as look at Nubia Latifa sending. She said she been missing these coffee talks lately. Thank you for the super chat, Sister Nubia Latifa. Speaking of which, you can support via super chat, or you can just go to Cash App, Sajdah Enterprises. You can support that way. We have a lot of things that we pay for that we don't pass the cost down. Things like this platform, things like the book, all the software that I had to use to get it formatted, the reviewers, it was an investment, right? And But Allah is telling me that this is a game changer. It is a true supplement to whatever you are doing. So if you hear anybody saying, oh, well, she's a follower of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, or she's a follower of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and that's their way. This is a true supplement for us as Black entrepreneurs, okay? We are working towards our economic sovereignty, and I am supplementing and supporting that in whatever platform you have developed, whatever platform you are on. That is what this is. And so I want you all to help me to share that message. It is a supplement. Okay? Because anybody that really truly wants to see you do business is not going to reduce you to binary thinking. They're not going to tell you, well, if you don't follow, I'm not going to name any names, if you don't follow so-and-so online, or they're not even going to tell you, if you don't follow me, you're not doing it right. I would never tell you that. That's not my way. And so I am super excited. I finally have been getting a little sleep. I have been working and writing around the clock. I just been so tired, but I'm ready to push this out. We're going to be doing some book signings around the country. We already got a couple that are booked. We're going to be doing some things at the Elijah Muhammad House Museum. I know you all have been, let me tell y'all something. This week alone, I got 219 emails where you all are asking me about the house, and I am so excited. And y'all know, if you ever emailed, you know I answer every single one of them. So we are working on these final punch list items. We are pushing. The book is going to be a supplement. Y'all know everything I do goes back into whatever I'm working on. So that's the reason why on my Cash App, I just call it Sajdah Enterprises, because that's what it's going towards, you know? And it's not easy doing these things independently, because whenever you are, and let me say this to you, because oftentimes, I'll say it this way, I don't like to speak in extremes, but oftentimes, whenever you are doing something that pushes Black people in particular to another level, to a level that takes us out of a subservient space, you're going to get pushback. Now, those of you who are on here with me all the time, y'all know sometimes I get messages from social media places, owners, that say your content violates community guidelines. Y'all know I don't be on here cursing. Sometimes I say a curse word every once in a while. I don't be on here twerking. I'm not on here. I don't be on here talking about people. I'm on here all about promoting, motivating, supporting, supplementing what we are doing in the area of doing for self, life, love, and business. Y'all know that. But because I'm not doing it in a way that fits a formulary that the algorithm has already said it makes sense, they got sometimes an issue with it. And it's okay. That's why I appreciate y'all for supporting. Ooh, dress code, you cracking Adams this morning. She said, your book will crack Adams. That is that's the goal. The goal is to help crack some Adams. That is the goal. Thank you, Sister Alita. Assalamu alaikum. Yes, the goal is to crack some Adams. We're going to push. Like I said, we're going to be doing some tours. We're going to be doing a book signing at the Elijah Muhammad House Museum. We got some think tanks coming up there. We got a play coming up very soon that I'm really excited about. I'm not telling y'all until we're ready to tell y'all, but all I can say is stay close, because I've been doing a lot of spiritual work and removing a lot of parasites, spiritual parasites. and just pushing through, pushing through, pushing through. And so I'm grateful. Grateful for my family that some are blood, some are not. I'm just grateful for everything and everyone. And I'm very excited for this next new level. And I hope that you are excited too. I was thinking about something yesterday. It's interesting because what happens to me is I try to listen very closely to what the spirit is telling me and saying to me. And I don't say this often publicly, but I'm very much a seer. And so I oftentimes see what is not being shown and oftentimes hear what is not being said. But I learned to not be reactive to it. I've learned to move. The way I do it is I'm more in a proving mode, or sometimes I'll say, okay, Allah, I just received this message. If this is something you want me to move on, show me more, or give me another sign or another example. And so I'll just ask for more. If I feel something, I say, I felt something there. Show me what you wanted to communicate with me with that thing that I felt. You know, I do that a lot, where I'm asking those questions. And so for a lot of the topics, one of the reasons why it took me so long to finish the book, because I would get it all done. I started working on the table of contents, the list of items in there. And then Allah would say, no, you need this, you need this. And then I'll go, wait, really? So a lot of times with these topics, it's the same process, right? So I may be coaching one of you, or I may be at a meeting. I do business advisory work, a little political consulting. So I may be doing something like that. Thank you, 8302 has one. And something will come. But what I don't do is just immediately go, boom, that's it. I try to be very respectful of the gift. And then I say, okay, what more? What is that here to teach me? What do you want me to see? Is there another sign? So it requires me to be settled and calm and meditate. I do a lot of meditation. I've always done meditation. I started meditating as a little girl. I didn't know it as meditation at the time. It's just like I used to do yoga when I was probably like 7 or 8 years old, but it's because I used to take dance classes, and I thought that yoga was dance. Real talk. And so there was this woman who used to come on television at 10 p.m. every night, and it was the technique she used was called Hatha Yoga. And I thought her name was Hatha Yoga. And so, by the time we take our bath and get ready to go to bed, I'd be in my room and Hatha Yoga would come on. And I would get up on the side of the bed and do Hatha Yoga with Hatha Yoga. And then later, when I learned that it was yoga and what it was, I just kept doing it. Meditation is something I've done since I was a little girl. You all heard me tell the story of when we went back to Omaha, Nebraska. We went to the house where my grandmother lived, or the space where my grandmother lived in that house. The stairs were still there. Mom and I took a really cute picture there. Some of you all seen it online. And I remember specifically meditating or a lot there, not knowing what meditation was. My brother laughs all the time because he said, remember that time you got stung by those bees? Because I'm one of these persons, bees always swarm around me. And I didn't know what that meant. There were a lot of flowers in the yard, but I felt the need. I remember this day clearly. I felt the need to meditate. I was probably about 7 years old. And so I went out into the middle of the yard, and Mom didn't always keep her grass cut. And so there were these sort of like dandelion looking flower. You know how when the dandelion gets white and it's got the little things on it you can blow and they'll fly away? So there was a bunch of those. And so I sat in the middle of that. And then on the side, she had these peonies that 2, 4, 6, about 8 of them, big peony plants. And I sat there and I needed to sit there for some reason. And I sat there, I guess, just having whatever communication I needed to have. And I got stung by a bee and I started crying. And my brother always teases me about that. But yeah, I just, and I'll go even a little further. When I was little, I couldn't see very well. I've since had corrective eye surgery, but until by the time I was about 4, I was wearing glasses. And as I got older, they were really thick because my eyesight just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And so in that process, I learned to rely a lot on my senses. So I think that also helped to develop my senses. So even by the time I got in high school, I was able to read music and hear notes and things like that in a really interesting type of way. My point for saying all that is that, so when I'm in these business environments, okay, I don't turn that off anymore. I listen and I see what's resonating with me. It's how I negotiate, how I know what to say, when to say, because I'm constantly having a conversation with spirit, saying, okay, what to say, what to do, da 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 da. And one of the things that came to me on 3 different occasions this week is how some of us are just mean, stanky people when we go into stores and restaurants, and whenever people are trying to sell us something. And I don't know if you all have ever seen that. Some people say there's a rule: if you go out with somebody and they're mean to the waiter or the waitress, that person shouldn't be your friend. I don't know how true that is or not, but there's a direct correlation with how you treat the waiter, the waitress, the salesperson, and how good you are at sales and in business. Direct correlation. However you are in those situations is how you are, whether it's in your physical behavior or your mental behavior when it comes to sales in business. This is a good way to train yourself on how to be better at sales, because if you can't sell, you cannot be in business. I got some shows on this network here about that. But if you cannot sell, if you have a problem with selling, if you don't like sales, I used to be like that. I thought that I was just automatically this corporate executive and I didn't need to sell. So when I started selling real estate, I don't know what I thought. I can only say that Allah must have said, this girl need to learn how to sell. Because when I first started selling real estate, I was terrible, horrible. Never made the leadership board. I was the lowest salesperson in the office. Terrible. And it wasn't until I was forced to do something different that required me to dig inside of myself, excuse me, that I became a good salesperson. For one, I used to go into stores or at restaurants or wherever I was, and I would be very arrogant. And what I learned was that what was going on with me when I was trying to sell. So when I would buy things, there was an arrogance, right? Like all of a sudden I got the money to do this or that, and I think I'm all of that, or maybe I can buy things that other people can't, or maybe it's just a fake thing, but there was an arrogance there. Well, guess what? When I got ready to sell stuff, that same arrogance existed, because it's really the same type of process. It's just one is buying and one is selling. So when I learned, and I think I've told this story many times, so I won't tell it to you here, but when I got that portfolio of business that was on the west side of Chicago, and everybody told me, that man trying to kill you, don't go over there, don't do that, you ain't gonna sell nothing. It was me thinking through strategically how to sell those units and how to humble myself, because I had to go and talk to some scary people to ask them to allow me to come on the block. Okay, read between the lines. In this neighborhood that was just on the cusp of regentrification. Okay, with the brothers outside in front of the white t-shirts, I had to humble myself, strategize, and go and talk to this person and ask him if he would please ask the brothers to move off the block so that I could have an open house, or so that I could show the property. And it was in that humility process that I understood the art of sales. And not only that, I became a better buyer and I became a better salesperson. Okay, because I had to strip all the arrogance down in order to go over there to get this done. And at that time, I didn't even, there was a point, not the entire time, but there was a point in that time when I was selling real estate and failing miserably, where I didn't even have a place to stay. So I would go to the office really early just to pretend like I was there, but I was a workout person. So I would work out and take my shower and stuff at the gym, and my stuff was in storage, change, and then go to the office. So I had to humble myself. I had to dig down. And when I dug down and I started selling those properties, 300,000, 500,000, 200,000, boom, 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 I was like, oh, wow, I got it. And so now that the universe has started to reward my behavior, now I'm starting to say, I get it. And so I'm different now when I go into a place to buy something. So I'm a good consumer because I'm also a good salesperson, right? What makes a person a good salesperson? You have to have something of value, or at least I have to convince you that it is of value to you. Okay. It really helps if I'm solving a problem that you have. So if you have a problem, which I believe one of the biggest problems for us as Black entrepreneurs is that we need to be free to do business. We have to be free of the mental shackles, and we have to be free of the antitrust and anti-competitive behaviors that are set out systemically and individually against us that prevent us from accessing wealth. We have to be free to do business, okay? And in some cases, some of us are not free because we've given somebody authority over our lives and over our livelihood, and we're worried about what they're going to say, what it's going to look like to them if I'm working hard. We're concerned. So that's a need that we want to fill. It's something we want to fix. And it actually can be fixed, in my opinion, in small increments. And so if we advance enough people forward, degree by degree by degree, then as a collective, we'll be able to enjoy certain freedoms, right? And let me give you an example of what I mean by this. And I'm sorry, I know I'm all over the place this morning, but I'm just giving you what's coming to me. And put in the chat, I see a lot of y'all in the chat. Let me know if you have any questions about this. If we have a small circle of people, let's say we're talking about Black Muslims in business in Chicago, and let's say we start to increase the amount of time that the dollar circulates in our micro community. If it's 6 hours in the Black community, it's probably less in our community. So let's say we increase that time. Let's say we increase it to a day. Okay. Let's say we increase it to 24 hours. Okay. That's a little crack in the atom that can help us go a little bit further, give us a little bit more courage, give us a little more money, that gives us a few more options, helps us support ourselves and our nation building a little bit more, helps us be a little bit more confident, increases our connection and our relationship with Allah a little bit, and gives somebody else a little bit more courage, because now they're like, oh, okay. So when we're trying to, if you got to do a business dinner and you know a Black Muslim restaurant, go there. If you got to do a birthday dinner, go there. You'd be surprised that that entrepreneur may have been struggling and trying to figure out how they was going to make payroll this week. And then here you come in there with 10 people and y'all eating appetizers, entrees, desserts, and all of a sudden now they can make their payroll. Look at how many lives you impacted. Look at how many people you helped. So I'm saying degree by degree by degree. In some cases, if some of us have the wherewithal to work with politicians to help protect us in business, maybe you need to file a lawsuit. Degree by degree by degree by degree. See, we got to stop thinking this has to happen as a collective. All of us, we're going to all walk into the promised land together. I don't know, but I don't have the answer to that, but I don't know if that's true. And if I look at nature, which the minister tells us to look at for everything, it doesn't always happen like that. It's step by step by step. It looks like one contiguous thing. Like if you see a plant growing or you see a baby growing in somebody's stomach, it looks like it's a flow. It looks like it. And in essence it is, but it's really degree by degree by degree. There's more life, there's more life, there's advancement. And then when you look back on it, it looks like a flow. It looks like a song. That's the goal. Okay. That's the real true goal. So let me go back to this sales thing. If you're a bad customer, you're probably a bad salesperson. So I love it when with my coaching clients, we have, say, a meeting in a coffee shop or in a restaurant where I get to watch them interact with waiters and waitresses and salespeople and the person at the counter that's selling you your coffee and your muffin, whatever. I love it because it helps me to see how they really do business. Because oftentimes what comes out of our mouth is different from what we actually do on a day-to-day basis. If you go into a restaurant and you got an attitude and I'm watching you and you just real critical, and that's probably the same energy that you're bringing to sales in your business. Remember, it's all about the exchange of goods and the exchange of money. If I see you and we go into a restaurant and you don't even look at the menu, you just start asking the person, y'all got this, y'all got that, and you take a dish and you put together your whole new meal, something that they didn't even do. And sometimes some restaurants are nice enough to do that for us, okay? But that still tells me where you are in business. If you're the kind of person where I go somewhere with you and people give you stuff, that happens to me. I go places, and because of how I handle people and because of my energy, people say, oh, you can have this, or they give me things. Then that tells me a lot about how you do business, how you are on the other side. And so because a lot of you are not going to be my coaching client, where you go out to dinner with me or go have coffee or tea with me, and I don't get to see that about you, you got to start paying attention to yourself. I was out with a coaching client about 2 weeks ago, and I noticed that he was very dismissive of the woman who was serving us coffee. We just went out for coffee because I wanted to see, because he talks in a very organized and corporate type of manner. He's always, when we sit down, he's always got a strategic plan and da 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 da. And I said, something's wrong. Something's missing. And so I said to him, I said, you know what? Let's go out for coffee. And we went for coffee, and I noticed how dismissive and borderline rude he was. And I'm saying this because he gave me permission to use this. It was a breakthrough with him when I had this conversation with him. So I don't normally share what happens in our coaching sessions, but he gave me this opportunity to do that and gave me permission to do it. But he was borderline dismissive and rude with the salesperson or the waiter. And it was coming off as he's just so into his session. And every time the waiter came over, he was acting like it was bothering him. And partway through, and I said, what, do you remember the waiter's name? And he dismissed my question because it was about something he dismissed. So I asked him a few questions, and I told him, I said, that right there is your problem. That's your challenge. And so anybody that's asking something of you, or where you have to exchange money, you got some trauma there. And so you are being dismissive and borderline rude. You know, if a waiter's coming over too much and you're there trying to have a cup of coffee or have a little meeting or something, you can say that. You can say, you know what, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. We're going to have a quick meeting here, and we'll flag you down if we need anything. You can say that, and they would probably appreciate it. And when you say that, and then you look up and go, okay, I think now we're ready to order breakfast or whatever, and you do this, they're going to say, oh, they're going to come over because they're going to be happy that they were able to allow you to do what it was that you're supposed to do, but you don't have to be rude. And so I told him, I said, what you're showing me is that not only do you not speak up, you have this plan in your mind, and anybody who's interacting with you in that way is a little bit rude. And he said to me, he said, my wife oftentimes says that she feels with my staff that I'm dismissive and rude. And I said, I just saw that. Or you go shopping with them. And how do they act? How are they in the store? Do they take things off the rack and just throw them back on the top? When they're sifting through the clothes, do you see them? Are they snatching the clothes? You know how clothes are on the rack, and instead of just moving it down with the hanger to look at what you want, are they snatching it by the sleeve and just that's going to tell you how that person does business. And it's not a negative thing. I'm not knocking you, but it is a clear sign to help you see how you're interacting from a business standpoint. I'm kind of person because I worked at Target. So if I come over there and I'm picking out a shirt and they all folded and they fall down, then I'm gonna fold shirts back. Especially if I'm in a friend's store or a client store. Eric Williams that owns the Silver Room is a good friend of mine. And I always take people to his store when they're in Chicago so they can go get some stuff and some paraphernalia, Chicago stuff, and support. I try to do it with people that I know. So I take people there, and we were looking for a certain size t-shirt and the t-shirts fell. And I'm like, I'm sitting there fixing your shirts back. Now, unless you come over and say, oh, no, it's okay. Then I'm going to fix your stuff back. I'm not going to yank on your merchandise. I'm not going to flip through your stuff and leave it a mess. I'm not going to get up from a chair at your restaurant and leave my chair out in the aisle and my table all nasty and messy, because this is a clear sign of how you interact with people who are of service to you, and in turn, how you interact when you are both the buyer and the seller. The behaviors they mirror each other. So what you do, here's the simple fix is, because this is all the art and science of business. These are all things that nobody taught us. Okay? Nobody taught us this stuff. So don't be down on yourself. And me saying it is not saying anything negative about you. Some of us are so insecure in business. Here's another thing that I notice and I catch, and I'll say this one last thing before we go. Some people are so insecure that if they see somebody else doing something that they're not even working on doing, they will get jealous and act crazy. To me, that's the most asinine thing. If you know that maybe it's something you wanted to do, but if you know that you're not getting up every day, going to work to do something that, you see me doing, why in the world are you jealous? I could see if we was both running the same race. That means that you are living in an delusion. You are delusional, because it means that you think that me and you are running the same race, but we're not doing the same thing because you don't get up and do what I do. It is the most incredibly crazy thing I've ever seen. But nobody teaches us this kind of stuff. So we've been taught sometimes this, and let me say this, and I say this at risk of offending some of my family members and friends and people that I love. But a lot of us that are from all Black towns or cities that were all Black growing up, like a DC or Chicago, sometimes act the most plantation-ish, because you are not accustomed to interacting with white people chronically or on a long-term basis. So the minute you get in front of white people, you throw your Black sister under the bus. The minute you think you got a chance to get a little contract or a little attention from some white people, you dog out your Black brother or sister. or the minute your Black brother or sister give you a job or an opportunity, or you get an opportunity to interact, because you think that some white folks gonna see it, you start acting funny, you start acting shady. Reason why I say that happens a lot to people who are not used to dealing with white people is because if you're not used to dealing with that level of diversity in terms of the people that you interact with, especially in business or in school or anything, maybe growing up. See where we grow up and how we live growing up sets a pattern in our life. Okay? And so you create this fantasy in your mind. You have this thing in your head that you think that somebody else doing something is going to impede or impact what you're doing. See, people like me that grew up in environments where there weren't hardly nobody that looked like me. When I see somebody that looked like me, I'm like, hey y'all, hey y'all, come on. Right? Now the opposite could happen, where I'm used to being the only one and I'm okay with it, but I'm not like that. Me, I'm like, hey y'all, let me tell y'all what they doing. I was just in their school. Let me tell y'all how they doing it. I was just working there. Let me show y'all something. Hey y'all, hey. That's me. I'm the one that's beckoning you on. Y'all, come on, hurry up. I got the door open. That's what we doing with this book, y'all. That's how I see it. And because I done been inside of there, I'm gonna go in there with you. Come on, I'm gonna go in there. Come on, let's go with you. So you gotta work with yourself. This is how you heal. You gotta be honest with yourself. You know, what was I told growing up? Who am I? Where am I? This is what I had to do when I told you about that real estate example. People told me, girl, you a Muslim, you in a nation, you the queen, you work for the minister, you shouldn't be over there in that dirty environment trying to sell no real estate. Those people are thugs. There was a whole laundry list of things that people said. And I had to sit down and say, is this propaganda? Is this something, are these things that I should be concerned about? And some of them were things that I needed to be concerned about. What happens if I drag all of this out into the light? All of this stuff that they're saying, if I just go, you know what? I'm just going to shine a light on it. And I'm going to see what happens. 8302 has one, says, wow, I don't know you, sis, but the little bit that I have heard, I feel that you are an awesome teacher. Oh, thank you so much. Praise be to Allah. That's the goal, right? And so anyway, thank you for that comment. I'll leave it at that. But my point being is that we cannot be afraid to examine our lives and examine our hearts and examine who we are and correct our behavior. The only way we're going to be able to correct it is by shining a light on it, raising awareness. So when I talk about the book, The Art and Science of Business, we are dragging stuff into the light. We are shining a light on it. We are examining and we are supplementing everything else that's out there that we are doing. Okay? So support the movement. Support the completion of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad House. You can go to, it's all scrolling across the bottom here, y'all. If you want to book me for a coaching session, you got to do that soon, because once we get on tour with the book signings and stuff like that, I'm not going to be doing a lot of individual sessions. So the couple that I have going on right now, they're going to be ending, but you should book now, because probably in the next 4 to 6 weeks at the very most, I won't be doing any going into this fourth quarter of the year. It's just going to be about pushing and promoting. I got some speaking engagements coming up and things like that. Okay, family. Let's see. Anything else? Make sure you like, subscribe. Thank you, Brother Robert 11X. Share the platform. Share what you've learned. Invite people onto the show. Just tell them about it. And yeah, that's it. Stay close. That's all I can say. Stay close. Like, subscribe, join the mailing list. Any way that you see where you'll get alerts about things that I got going on, then you're going to want to be a part of it. Some people have asked me about getting the replay for the spiritual-based credit literacy. If you email me at mindofanentrepreneurtoday@gmail.com, and it's going to be $10 to get the link to look at the replay. You just email me. I'll tell you what the Cash App is, or it's here. And then, or you can Cash App the $10 and then send me a copy of your Cash App. I'll send you the link. And with the link, you can look at it as many times as you want. Okay. Some people have asked about that, but there's some other classes. There's a whole workbook inside of the new book that we're going to be using to base some talks and classes and series on. Okay, family. Okay. We'll see you all, inshallah, tomorrow morning. 6 a.m. right here on the Sajdah channel. Be a friend, tell a friend, make sure you like and subscribe. And I appreciate each and every one of you very much. And yeah, we'll see y'all tomorrow. Okay. Assalamu alaikum.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who in my judgment is the master historian, taught us that of all our studies, history is the most attractive, and it is best qualified to reward the researcher. History is most attractive. Why should history be most attractive? Because history is the recorded time of the human family in its struggle to overcome obstacles. There is no life that is without struggle. The Holy Quran teaches us that man, meaning man and woman, is made to face difficulties. And after difficulty comes ease. But it is history that guides us through difficulty. For if you know how people who had difficulty yesterday got through, and if your difficulty is somewhat similar, then today we also can get through if we follow the guidance of history. This is why Carter G. Woodson and many of our black giants fought for black people to know our history. Because in not knowing our history, we don't have a guide. And without a guide, we are lost. No wonder the Bible